Welcome to Season 4 in the Manchester United Rebuild Series. And at the start of this series, we set ourselves a target of having a squad of only players of the age of 25 years and under, which we are pretty much at that stage now. Just the odd tweak here and there, maybe bringing in the odd wonder kid here and there as well. And also wanted to dominate English football again. And I think we're kind of at that stage. But we do still have the Champions League to win. So can we win that in the next 2 seasons? Only one way to find out. Okay, only one place to start, and that's the transfers, because I know that's what you guys really do like to see. And this is back in last season, but we did make a transfer at the end of the season, just as the transfer window opened. Estavio from SEP in Brazil came in for 17.5 million, matching a release clause. He is a wonder kid. He's 2.5 stars current with 4-star, maybe 5-star potential. Already got a value of 53 to 64 million. He looks like he's going to be an absolute star. He can play on the right. He can play on the left a little bit. He can play in the middle as well, also up front. He's got really good acceleration, decent pace, good natural finish, agility. He's just a really good, promising player. He is in our under-21s at the moment, but don't worry. He will be playing in pretty much every Carabao Cup, probably the FA Cup as well. And then there's no outs to really go through. So if we then move into the current season, Eman Cospo has come in from Barcelona B, and 21 to 25 million current valuation. We bought him in for just £9 million, again matching a release clause, I think that was. He's a centre back, can play a little bit on the left, a little bit in the middle, but he will primarily be a centre back. He's 2 stars for current ability, 3 to 4-star potential ability, 6'3". He's got a couple of goals already in pre-season from corner kicks. He looks like he's a decent option that can be there as backup for our first team. Again, he's in the under-21s at the moment. Eric van der Meer from Feyenoord for 7.5 million. Again, another release clause we matched. 18 years old, 1.5 star current ability with 2.5 to 3.5 star potential. He can play right or left. I do like a player like we had with Diego Dalot that can play on the right side and can play on the left side. They're very useful to have on a subs bench, someone you can bring in from time to time as of when they're needed, sort of thing. And he kind of fills that void. He's a bit of an improvement on Tyler Fredrickson, who we've got at the moment. The fact that he's 18 years of age as well means that he can fulfil the homegrown quota in a couple of seasons' time. If we look at future transfers as well, there is one more still to come in, and that's Eric Norgard. He's currently only 17, that's why he's not coming at the moment. He turns 18 on the 4th of August, and he'll then be coming in for 5.5 million from Viborg FF. And they're not very happy with this, but 1.5 star current ability. My scouts have let me down a little bit on this one because I had him as 4-star potential, and I fell for it and bought him in. As you can see there, he's 2.5 to 3.5 star potential, but can play out on the left. He looks okay for a player that's only 17. It's got a lot of progression to do, I suppose. But again, he's a player that potentially we could sell on for a profit. The fact that we're only paying 5.5 million for him when he comes in means there is a lot of room there for selling him on for a profit later on. If we go back to all transfers, look at players that have gone out. Anthony and Marcus Rashford are the 2 big names that have gone out. Anthony had a option in his he was on loan at Arsenal last season, and the option for a permanent move was that it would become permanent if they qualified for the Europa League, which they just about did. And Marcus Rashford had a mandatory fee of 49 million in his loan contract with Inter Milan. So both of those have now gone through, bringing us through, 64 million nearly. And Altay Biandir has gone to Besiktas for 4.5 million. We've kind of been conned a little bit there because he had a valuation of about 15 million at the time, and he's 12 to 40 million there as well. But as you say, only sign out as a last resort. He was their backup goalkeeper. He barely played at all last season. Dennis Simon is very reliable for us in goal. And if we look at the squad screen, or the tactics screen, Radik Vitek, who's 1.5 star with 2.5 star potential, he's in at the moment. I am going to be putting all my energy into finding a young 18, 19-year-old wonder kid goalkeeper that could potentially come in. In fact, if we go to the scouting screen now, have a look at players in range and take that off and put goalkeepers 15 to 22. There's options. I mean, there's Guillaume Restes, who's at Toulouse, he's 21 years of age. There's potentially David Williams, who's at FC Dallas, could be 4-star potential. There's not a great deal. There's only really him and Marcio Roberto of Fluminense that you would look at and think maybe could become something. But I'll have a look at these two off camera and see where we go. If we have a look at the competition screen at the season preview, I don't take much notice of it, but we are expected to finish 6th. We have actually won the Premier League the last 3 seasons, so we're aiming to make it 4 in a row this season, 5 in a row next season. Obviously, we won all the domestic cup competitions last season as well, with the FA Cup, Carabao Cup, and even the Community Shield. We want to win them all again this season, but the real focus has got to be the Champions League. That's the one trophy that's outstanding for us. And once we've won that, we can then say we've completed the lot. I would like to say that we are dominating English football at the moment. We just need to carry it on. And if we have a look at our schedule for the Premier League, as you see, in terms of friendlies, we had a pretty decent pre-season. We've been leaking goals recently, but we had been decent up until then. A 1-1 draw against Birmingham wasn't a great result, but we've got people scoring goals. We play Liverpool in the Community Shield. Then we have West Ham away in the league, which is not an easy opener to the season. Then we've got Tottenham at home, Chelsea away, Liverpool at home in the league. I mean, that is a tough opening 4 or 5 games if you want to include the Community Shield. And even after that, Leeds at home. But then we've got Man City. Aston Villa will be tough as well. We're away to Newcastle. It's going to be an interesting start to see. If we can get to the Newcastle game and pretty much unbeaten and top of the table kind of thing, then I think we will just run away with the Premier League. I'll be quite honest. That will be much of a formality. One thing I do want to show you as well, actually, is talking to Man City. Pep Guardiola has been sacked. Jose Mourinho has come in as the new manager. And in terms of players they have at their club, Andre Onana has just made the move from Tottenham to Manchester City. Bearing in mind he was with us, we bought him for 46.5 million. We sold him to Tottenham for 36 million after he had a season on loan with them. Didn't even play a game in that season. I mean, that was an absolute waste of 36 million. We didn't do a great deal better, but at least he was a first choice keeper with us. But then after one season of not playing, Man City have now bought him as a backup as well for 17.25. So his valuation, the amount he's actually going for, is just going down all the time. So, yeah, a bit of a traitor there going from Man United to Man City via Tottenham. But it is what it is, I guess. You know, can't hold it against him. But I just thought that was a really interesting move that Jose Mourinho goes to Manchester City in the year of 2026 after they sack Pep Guardiola. Let me know who you think is going to be the next manager of Manchester City in the comments, because there is obviously news that, or rumours that Pep could be standing down. If we actually have a look at the managers in the Premier League at the moment, Arsenal have Marcelino with them. Aston Villa have Matthias Dahm, who basically is Thomas Tuchel. Bournemouth have Kasper Hulmand. Brentford have Stephen Presley. Chelsea, Thiago Motta. I mean, is there any managers at the clubs now what there was in real life? Palace have got De Zerbi. Everton have got Russell Martin. Fulham have got Ryan Mason. Hull have got John Terry. Leeds have Adam Underwood. Leicester have Kieran McKenna. I mean, that is in Ipswich at real life. Is that a sideways move because they've both just come up to the Premier League, or is it slight increase? Liverpool still have Marco Rose. Man City have Mourinho. Man United have me. Newcastle have Ruud van Nistelrooy. I think that's quite an interesting one. Southampton have Liam Manning. I mean, I've never even heard of Liam Manning. He's 40 years old. He, in real life, as of now, he's Bristol City manager. And he's moved from Bristol City to Southampton, previously manager of Oxford and MK Dons and Lommel SK. As a player, he's at Ipswich Wanderers. I mean, I don't even know who. I think he's a non-league player. So, yeah, well done to Liam Manning. He's a manager in the Premier League. Ange Postecoglou is still at Tottenham. So there you go. Ange Postecoglou and David Moyes. I mean, technically David Moyes is no longer the West Ham manager in real life. So I suppose you could say Ange Postecoglou is the only manager that's still at the club they are currently at in real life. So I find that stuff kind of interesting. I really do. Dynamics, team cohesion is excellent. Club atmosphere is excellent. Managerial support is excellent. If we look at our tactics, I don't think there's even a change in our team. We'd usually have Koyoda. Let me sort this out a moment. I need to get it sorted out for when we play the game. So Koyoda would be in there. Mainu, Guerrero, Neves. I am still debating whether it's Guerrero there or House of Naipan. Let me know in the comments what you would do. Rooney Bargi is currently injured, so Iran Kunda can come in there. Kalikshoy can come in for him. We can move Adam Wharton up to here. And who else are we looking at? Rasmus Højlund, maybe. Well, he needs to come in for John Kirk, let's be quite honest. And probably that as well. Damien Lloyd's shouldn't actually be in there. We'll put Tyler Fredrickson there. And yeah, that's pretty much what our squad looks like. There's not a great deal or no difference to what there was last season, really, because the players we've got at the moment are still in the under 21s kind of thing. Kelson is now homegrown, so we do have him there that can, along with Lucero as well, that can up our homegrown status things. We're fine for the Premier League. It's more for the European side that we have to be very careful with that, with the likes of Charlie Duas and Adam Wharton. You know, there's some homegrown players in there. And yeah, if we look at finances, we've got 132 million in the bank. So maybe the finances have kind of fixed themselves at the moment. We still have 67.8 million pound in the transfer budget to spend, and we're only spending 2.8 million on wages. So we're doing pretty decent there. We did have quite a few players like Naipan and Simon and players like that had new contracts kick in at the end of the season, start of the new season. So what I will do now is I will play the games in August off camera while we get to the end of the transfer window, and let's see if there's any more business in or out that we do, and see how we got on in August. So the transfer window has slammed shut, and basically there's not really any news to give you. We've not bought anybody in. We have bought someone in for next season, but we'll get to that in a moment. In terms of players out, after buying Deer, we had Roman Rowney and Daniel Davis, two of our youngsters. Roman Rowney is only meant to get to 3 stars, maybe, as a central midfielder. He's going to be out of contract a couple of seasons. He'll probably end up going. And Daniel Davis, who's a Welsh 18-year-old, does have 3.5 star potential as a striker. There is a chance we might keep him on beyond the end of this save, but probably not, if we're being completely honest. In terms of the player we've got for next season, Marcio Roberto, the goalkeeper that I was wanting to bring in another backup goalkeeper and thought I had, but it turned out because he's only 17 years old, he doesn't turn 18 until March of next year, which means he can't join us until the summer. So he'll come in 18 years of age. Eventually he'll become homegrown. I mean, he's 6'5" as a goalkeeper. Instantly, that tells me he's going to be a really good goalkeeper. He where are we? He does have 4.5 star potential ability. He could absolutely be a cracking understudy for Dennis Simon. Talking of Dennis Simon and a couple of others, we have worked out as well that Dennis Simon and Rooney Bargi, and there is one other, but I can't actually remember who the other one is, but it's Dennis Simon and Rooney Bargi plus one other of our matchday squad will become homegrown as of next season. So that'll be a massive help as well. We've just done our squad for the Champions League. We've easily fit everyone from our 28-man squad into it. Obviously, some of them didn't need to be registered, some did, but yeah, it was quite a breeze in the end. If we have a look at how we're doing so far, I mean, you can see up there we're first in the Premier League. We lost the Community Shield to Liverpool by 2-0. We did put out a full strength team as well, but as you can see, Iran Kunda got sent off in the 27th minute, and then Alexis McAllister and Ibrahima Konate scoring for Liverpool in front of a sold-out Wembley Stadium. Mainu and Wharton getting yellow cards in that game as well. Then we played our first meaningful game of the season against Everton 2-1, and we went 1-0 up through Karen Canate, 2-0 up through Karen Canate, and then they got a consolation in the 92nd minute. Canate also picking up an injury. But if we have a look at the actual stats for the game, it was a very even game, very close game. I mean, we did dominate possession and we were way ahead in terms of XG. In terms of shots on target, 2 for them, 3 for us. The scoreline was probably right. We probably did deserve to win it. Well, we did deserve to win it. But yeah, a close game, 2-1. Then we played Tottenham at home, sorry. And we always struggle against Tottenham. We kind of struggled in this game as well. It was only 1-0. Iran Kunda getting on the score sheet in this game. As you can see from the stats, though, we did dominate. We dominated the shots on target. We had a better XG. We had most of the possession, most passes completed. We were the better team, but a 1-0 win is not exactly convincing. But then again, games against Tottenham rarely are convincing. Then we had a 2-2 draw against Chelsea. They got off to a great start with a Kobe Mainu own goal in the 3rd minute, but then Alejandro Garnacho equalising on 12 minutes. Then Neves put us 2-1 up before Christopher Nkunku made it 2-2. And again, if we have a look at the stats on this one, again, you can see, I mean, shots on target was identical. XG was identical. We had slightly more possession, but passes completed was identical. A draw was probably a fair result in that game. Away from home against Chelsea, you don't really argue at that type of thing. Then we played Liverpool, and this just stunned me because, bearing in mind, we'd lost to them 2-0 at Wembley in the Community Shield. We put out, again, a full-strength team, and we won 7-0. Neves got us off to a good start in the 21st minute, then a Canate goal on the 25th minute, and 2 goals from Patrick Dorgu before half-time. We went in 4-0 up, and I'm sure you've had these type of games yourself in FM where you've been 4 or 5-0 up by the end of the first half, and the other team ends up getting 2 or 3 goals in the second half and ends up finishing up 5-3 or 6-3, something stupid like that. But the fact that we went on and not only kept a clean sheet, but got 3 more goals, Garnacho penalty, Guerrera and Kabasi getting on the score sheet, I was absolutely stunned, like I say. And if we have a look at the stats for it as well, I mean, we were clinical, 7 goals from 9 shots on target. They had 3 shots on target, couldn't score. I mean, our XG was 4.23. We massively overperformed our XG. We had more possession, better passes completed. Yes, we deserved to win, but 7-0 against Liverpool. And then had the same start to our, by this point, we both had 2 wins and a draw from our first 3 games. So it's not like they'd had 3 defeats out of the first 3 games or anything like that. Then we played Hull in the Carabao Cup 3rd round, and a fully rotated team in this one. If we have a look at the stats in this one, 4-2. I was actually surprised we won it, to be honest, because we had our youngster Damien Lloyd, who's 16 years old. He was 15 when he played for us last season. He was at right back. Vitek we put in goal, and then we had Alvaro Fernandez, otherwise that says Carreras. Norgard and Emin Cospo, 2 of our new signings, partnering each other at the back. Duase in the Mainu role with Wharton and Naipan in front of him. Them 2 are just so good. You know, it doesn't really matter if we have Neves and Guerrera or Wharton and Naipan. They're just so good. Iran Kunda, who's just been stunning so far this season. Semi Kalikshoy out wide with Hoyland up top. And yeah, we dominated. We were better in every department than Hull, as you would expect. They are a Premier League team though, so it was a little bit of a shock that a team this weak, especially weak defensively, I mean, going forward with this 5 here, we are really, really good. Duase is fine in that role. He's kind of working his way into it. But yeah, defensively, that is a weak defence, and the fact we conceded 2 goals is probably evidence of that. So we're through to the 4th round of the Carabao Cup where we play Arsenal. If we filter our fixtures for just the Champions League only, if it lets me, here we go, Champions League. We've got Dortmund at home, Inter at home, Dortmund at home, Stuttgart, PSV, Napoli and Salzburg away from home before then playing Vigo and Bodo Glimt at home. Not a bad draw by any stretch of the imagination. Inter and Napoli will probably be, and Dortmund will be really tough games. PSV and Salzburg might put up a bit of a fight as well, but I would estimate we would qualify pretty comfortably from the group stage of the Champions League. And in the Carabao Cup 4th round, I think I just said actually that we've got Arsenal at home in the fourth round. That's their reward for beating Hull in the Carabao Cup. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. We've got games to play now. I will come back to you at the end of the January transfer window for a mid-season update and to see how we have done in the transfer market, whether there's anybody else to come in or go out. We have still got £50 million in the transfer budget. We're only spending 2.8 million in the wage budget. If we actually have a look at the Premier League team detailed at how much our salary is, well, there you go, we're ninth. We were ninth last season, we're ninth again this season. We're not far off being 10th. I mean, finances do seem to be improving, although we are still hemorrhaging money. We were at 136 million a few weeks ago. We're now down to 100 million. So I don't know why this is hemorrhaging the way it is when, you know, we've reduced the wage budget by like nearly 2 million a week, you know, so that's well over £100 million a year we've reduced the wage budget by, yet we still are hemorrhaging money even with Champions League money coming in. So yeah, it is what it is. In terms of dynamics, a lot of people are unhappy they didn't get to go out. Well, I say a lot of people. It's mainly Fredrickson and Fernandez. I have made an agreement with Fernandez. If someone comes in with a £19 million bid for him, that I'll accept it. I mean, I'll drive him to wherever his new club is. I don't care. Javi Guerrera is not happy. He's got 9 players that support him because there's a lack of quality and depth in the goalkeeping department. I thought by buying that goalkeeper that we was going to solve that. It then turns out that, like I say, he's only 17 years old. He's not going to be here till next year. But anyway, excellent team cohesion, excellent club atmosphere, very good managerial support. Probably taking a hit because of this, but it is what it is. And I'll see you in part 2 for the mid-season review. Welcome back to part 2, the mid-season review, as we like to call it. And not everything has gone our way. As you would have known from part 1, we were runner-up in the Community Shield, sorry, not the Charity Shield. We have been knocked out in the Carabao Cup in the 4th round by Arsenal, so we won't be winning the Carabao Cup this season. In the FA Cup, we are through to the 5th round where we play Exeter and we are at home. We'll go through the fixtures and whatever shortly. We've qualified from our Champions League group, top of the table. 6 wins, 2 draws, got us 20 points. Bayern Munich also on 20 points. Worth noting as well that Liverpool and Tottenham have also automatically qualified. Man City will have to go through the playoffs. And where are Aston Villa? Because they were, Arsenal and Aston Villa will have to go through the playoffs as well. So 3 English teams in the playoff area. Barcelona are in there as well, along with Real Madrid. I mean, you expect them to get through. Napoli as well in there, and Inter. There's some big teams in that playoff area. And, you know, Dortmund, who we have played in the group stage, they are through automatically along with us and the other teams in the top 8. In terms of Premier League, we are top of the table by 3 points after 25 games played. Aston Villa have been a real surprise package this season. We'll go through that in a moment. Arsenal were looking like they were going to potentially win this league after the first 10 or so games, but they've fallen off a little bit lately and they're now 6 points behind us. Manchester City, 11 points behind us in 4th. So in terms of getting a Champions League spot in the top 4, I mean, Newcastle are currently in 5th and they are 18 points behind us. So I think it's safe to say we're going to achieve the board's objective. Obviously, our objective is we want to win it. Let's go to the schedule then, and we'll have a look up here from when the season started. So we'll ignore the Community Shield. 2-1 win against West Ham, and then a 1-0 win against Tottenham. We went through this in the last episode, so I won't go through them all again, but a 7-0 win against Liverpool was absolutely stunning. We played them later on in the season and we've won 5-2. We'll get to that in a moment. We then played Hull in the Carabao Cup 3rd round with a very heavily rotated team. We won 4-2. We then played Leeds in the Premier League at home and won 5-0. Guerrera getting 2 penalties in that game. Inter Milan were next up in the Champions League, first game in the Champions League. A comfortable 4-0 win with Erasmus Højlund hat-trick. Manchester City was our one and only league defeat this season so far, and that was a 3-0 defeat at Manchester City with Vinicius Junior, Jeremy Docker and Nathan Ake getting on the score sheet. We then played Borussia Dortmund and won 3-1. We then beat Aston Villa 2-1 in the league. I think we've actually done the double. Oh no, we've got them coming up again shortly, I think. Then we played Newcastle in the league and won 4-1. Then came VfB Stuttgart in the Champions League and surprisingly got a 3-3 draw in that game. I was thinking we was probably going to win it, but turns out we didn't. So that was one of the games we dropped points in. Then we played Nottingham Forest in the league and won 4-1. And then Arsenal in the Carabao Cup fourth round. And we had basically a first choice team out there. Cosbo obviously isn't a regular first team. Neither is Van der Meer or Douassi. But we have got the likes of Guerrera, Coyote, Kelson, who's been a first teamer in the past, Kanati, Rooney, Barger. We did mix it up a little bit, but yeah, not good enough. We lost 1-0 to Arsenal. Then came a 1-1 draw in the league against Brighton. We were poor in that game, I have to say. Then a 3-0 win against PSV in the Champions League, followed by a 2-1-0 wins against Crystal Palace and Bournemouth. Then we played Napoli in the Champions League, drew 2-2. Then a 3-2 win against Arsenal, followed by a 3-0 win against Fulham, a 2-1 win against West Ham, a 5-1 win against Salzburg in the Champions League, a 2-0 win against Leicester, followed that by a 1-1 draw against Leeds in the Premier League. Then came Hull, where we won 5-2. Facundo Pellistri, one of their former players, scoring against us in that game as well. Then came Brentford in the league, where we drew 1-1, and then a 3-1 win against Southampton. A 1-1 draw against Tottenham. Like I said before, we seem to always struggle against Tottenham. Garnacho got a goal for us, but Dominic Calvert-Lewin equalised for Tottenham. That finished 1-1 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Then came Scunthorpe in the FA Cup. Pretty strong team we put out there. I mean, Simon in goal, Kyoda, Romero, Kabasi, Maynard. I mean, that was pretty much full strength, with the exception of Van der Meer, who was in for Dorgu. I think I was resting him at that point because we kept getting emails from the physio about him. Then we played West Ham and won 3-1. Then this has been a really nice run of wins here. Then a 4-0 win against Chelsea, followed by a 5-2 win against Liverpool at Anfield. And that's after going 2-0 down as well. Szoboszlai and Nunes getting the 2 goals for Liverpool. But then Naipan on 43 minutes. We had a Garnacho brace followed by Guerrera and Højlund. Them 2 goals coming in the 95th and 99th minute. Garnacho's second coming in the 84th. So it was very even up until the 84th minute, when we then just went on and scored 3 very late goals. Then we played Vigo in the Champions League and won 2-0. Then Bournemouth in the FA Cup fourth round, won that 3-1. Then we played Bodo Glimt in the Champions League, a final Champions League game of the group stage anyway. We won that 3-0, and then a 3-1 win against Manchester City. We were actually 3-0 up inside 17 minutes. Goals from Højlund, Guerrera and Bargi. We have Aston Villa coming next. If we take a proper look at the table, a win for Aston Villa would get them level on points with us. We would most likely still be ahead of them on goal difference, but it would certainly keep. And if we have a look at Aston Villa's form, they've really dropped off here. I mean, luckily for them, only 2 of these are in the league. But prior to that, they were on a pretty decent run of form. Since this defeat here against us, they then went on a really decent run of form, losing there, which was in the Champions League, all the way down to here where they beat West Ham 4-2. But then a defeat against Tottenham, a defeat against Liverpool, as well as losing back-to-back games in the Community Shield, but winning in the FA Cup. That has really been what's done for them, because if they'd won both of those games, they'd actually be top of the table round about now. If we go and have a look at Arsenal, because like I say, they were doing pretty well at the start of the season. They lost the game here against Barcelona, that was in the Super Cup. But they were winning their league games, the first so many league games. They lost here in the Champions League as well, but again, still winning in the league until they lost to West Ham 3-0. But then they won the North London derby against Tottenham. They beat Chelsea. They beat Liverpool. Then they come up against us, and they lost to us in the Premier League 3-2, as you can see that, as we've already been through. And then after that, they lost to Man City. They lost to Aston Villa. They lost in the Champions League to Dortmund. They've lost in the Carabao Cup quarter-final to Crystal Palace. They've lost in the league to Brighton. They just kind of fell off of a cliff around this period here. They kind of got it back a little bit there, but FA Cup and Champions League defeat and draw, and then a draw recently against Hull, a game in which they should really be looking at winning. If we have a look at the finances, we've gone from having 100 million in the bank when the season started to being down to 23 million. We did get a email come through that we get repayments for this one here, I believe it is. 1st December 2026. We're just getting loans after loans after loans. It's just a mammoth amount of money that we are having to pay out. I mean, we're paying out £13 million a month on these loans we've got. And these loans go on for some years. I mean, they are due to finish. I mean, there's two there that are due to finish this year. But it's just a ridiculous amount of money that we've got out on loans. 71 million in the transfer budget, 4.5 million we have as a wage budget. We're only spending 2.9 million. And yeah, finances are all good. In terms of dynamics, there's a lot of this going on. Guerrera is apparently happy or happier with the use of youth in goal. Team cohesion is excellent, club atmosphere is excellent, managerial support is very good. Don't know why it's suddenly gone down, but it is what it is. And there's been no transfer business to bring you up to speed on. Marcio Roberto is obviously the player that's due to come in at the end of the season. But yeah, nobody's come in, nobody's gone out. It's been a very, very quiet January transfer window for us. We did get several bids for Aaron Campbell, not Alistair Campbell, Aaron Campbell, who's 1.5 star, potential to be 3.5 star winger for us on the left-hand side. We're keeping him around because he could be quite a useful squad player for us for the Champions League, homegrown and all this sort of stuff. We had offers between 10 and 14 million come in for him. I think the highest one was from Fulham, who offered 14.25 million. Obviously, it was staggered. It was like 4.5 million up front. So much money on instalments after so many games, after he's played an international game, all this sort of stuff. The fact he's Northern Irish, he probably will make international appearances. He's certainly been capped under 17 and under 21 level. But I turned the offers down. But in the summer, if we get an offer like that come through again, I'm probably going to take it. I think this summer coming will be very interesting in terms of the players that we move on that are not going to be good enough. Some of them will be homegrown players as well. But yeah, that is how we're doing so far at the mid-season point. I'll come back to you next for an update at the end of the season, how we've done, along with the end of season review. So I'll see you over there. Oh, we have won the Champions League, and of all teams to beat in the final, it was Liverpool, the team that beat us a couple of seasons ago in the Champions League final. We've now beaten them, and I am so happy that we've won it this season. It wasn't a great final. I mean, you could probably argue that Liverpool were probably the better team, actually, probably deserved to win. But we got a goal on the 19th minute from Alejandro Garnacho with an assist from Patrick Dorgu, and then Kyoda getting the winning goal in the 86th minute with a Guerrera assist. Oh, it felt so sweet beating Liverpool in the Champions League final. It really, really did. We've won the FA Cup. We've won the Premier League. We were knocked out in the fourth round of the Carabao Cup by Arsenal and runners-up in the Community Shield. So we have done the treble. And if we have a look at the Premier League as well, we've won the Premier League every season that we've been here. 4 in a row. What Man City can do in real life, we can do in Football Manager. And yeah, it's been a dominating time in terms of the Premier League. Aston Villa, by the way, they have run us close. They have been really good. They were third last season. They're second this season. We also knocked them out of the Champions League as well. And our form has been quite iffy towards the end of the season. We'll show you what we've done since the mid-season review. And we had Aston Villa in the league on the 6th of February. We beat them 3-1. I mean, we had a really nice run of form from, well, quite a long time, really. But especially from the turn of the year, from January, just winning pretty much everything. Beat Newcastle 3-0, beat Nottingham Forest 2-1, 5-1 against Exeter in the FA Cup. Then we played Brighton in the league and won that one 4-1. Then the Champions League round of 16, we got drawn against Feyenoord. 5-0 aggregate win, 3-0 and 2-0. We had a 1-0 defeat against Crystal Palace in the league. Then we beat West Ham in the FA Cup quarter-final 5-1, beating Bournemouth 1-0 in the Premier League. We didn't play particularly well in that game, but a 97th minute winner from Semi Kaliksoy in that game. Then we got beaten by Arsenal again. I mean, we lost to them in the Carabao Cup. We've now lost to them in the Premier League as well, 2-1. Then a 2-2 draw in the away leg against Paris Saint-Germain. João Neves getting both goals for us. In the Premier League, a 2-2 draw against Fulham. Then against PSG, we had a 3-2 win in the home leg. Then Everton, a 4-1 win in the FA Cup semi-final. Then we played Everton again in the Premier League and drew 0-0. Then we played Leicester in the Premier League and won 3-0, followed by a Champions League semi-final against Aston Villa, where we won the home leg very comfortably, 4-0, 2 goals from Højlund, 2 goals from Garnacho. Then we beat Hull, rock bottom Hull, 4-1. Then we had the away, and this kind of started a bit of a drop-off here. I mean, we had a drop-off up here as well, but we then got beaten 3-2 in the away leg against Aston Villa, but we won 6-3 on aggregate. Then we drew 1-1 with Brentford. Then we lost 2-0 against Southampton in the Premier League. That was on the final game of the season. Then we beat Manchester City in the FA Cup final 2-1, and we beat Liverpool in the Champions League final 2-1. If we have a look at the Premier League, as you can see, we won it by 1 point, 86 points. I think that might be the least amount of points we've won the Premier League with since we started this season. So we had 90 in the first season, then 96, then 92, and then 86. So yeah, comfortably the lowest amount of points we've had. Aston Villa on 85. Like I said, they pushed us the whole way. They lost 7 games, all by one of them away from home. Arsenal, Man City, we beat them twice. Man United, Liverpool, Tottenham, us again, and Brentford. So Brentford's probably the one they will look at and say, we really shouldn't have lost against Brentford. At the same time, I kind of look back, where's the game? This one here against Bournemouth, where we won 1-0 with a Semi Kaliksoy 97th minute goal, and kind of think that game won us the league, because if that had been a draw, we would have lost the league to Aston Villa. And you have to feel bitterly disappointed for them, because it is such a shame. I was going to show you the squad and show you some who our top goal scorers are and things like that, but I think what we'll do is we'll leave that for the end of season review. As you see, we've got nobody on any of this, by the way, which we just seem to spread the goals and the assists around in our team. We're not a one or two man team like Manchester City and whatever. I mean, Man City have got the top 2 goal scorers that have got 47 goals between them. They've got the top 2 assist makers that have got 23 assists between them, and they're third. So that just goes to show you don't need to be top of that, does it? Right, let's go and see the end of season review, and we'll have a look at that right now. Here we are with the end of season review and our 3 beautiful trophies: the Premier League, the Champions League, and the FA Cup, of course. Right, let's have a look at our transfers in. Only 3 to bring you, really. Eric van der Meer for £7.5 million, made 46 appearances, exactly split down the middle in terms of starts and subs appearances. 1 goal, 7 assists at 7.05. As an 18-year-old fullback, he's had a really good season. He's actually won the award for signing of the season. Emin Cospo, 20-year-old centre-back from Barcelona B for £9 million, another bargain. I do like getting these young wonder kid type players that are just an absolute bargain. 12 starts, 1 sub appearance, no goals or assists, but 6.82. I was relatively pleased with him. He's got a lot of potential, that boy. And Eric Norgard, I mean, the board absolutely love this one. He came in from Viborg FF for £5.5 million. He's had 5 starts, 1 substitute appearance, 1 goal, 6.70. He's not really had much of a chance this season, but maybe we can give him a bit more of a chance next season. In terms of transfers out, Marcus Rashford, I mean, the board are probably going to hate all of these, but Marcus Rashford has gone to Inter Milan for £49 million. He's only made 10 starts, 4 goals, 3 assists at 7.11. Alti Bayendir has gone to Besiktas for £4.4 million, 22 starts at 7.10. He's had a decent season. And then these. Anthony's gone to Arsenal for £14.75 million, 15 starts, 11 sub appearances, 5 goals, no assists at 6.72. He's been rubbish, and I'm not surprised. The loans are what the loans are. Rodrigo Mora, one of our youngsters, he'll be back at the club again next season. Daniel Davis, one of our promising youngsters as well. They've been out, they've got some decent starts and a lot of experience playing for other clubs. Daniel James at Zaragoza, for example. And yeah, I mean, they don't like the decision to loan him out. We could have commanded a loan fee, but I was more interested in them getting first team action. Right, season to remember. Premier League, we won it, A+, as it should be. Champions League, we won it, A+, as it should be. FA Cup, we won it, B-. I mean, what more do you want? Anyway, Carabao Cup, C+, fourth round, we don't really care about that. Community Shield runner-up, we don't care about that either. Moments to remember, the biggest win was a 7-0 win against Liverpool. I actually almost forgotten about that. That was an insane result, that really was. Match to remember was a 3-2 win against Arsenal in the Premier League. And the goal of the season was from Karim Konate, running from inside the West Ham half. The striker skins an opponent before scoring a powerful close-range effort. What a goal that was. If we go to the finances, we're now 5 stars, not 4.5 stars. No new sponsorship deals. Our sponsorship money has gone up by 1 million. Our broadcast revenue has gone down by 6 million. Our corporate and hospitality has gone up ever so slightly by a few £1,000s. Our competition prize money has gone up by 25 million. That will be because we've won the Champions League, I suspect. Our matchday commercial and retail has gone down by a few thousand. 44.84 million made in merchandise sales. Non-domestic sales amounting to 19 million of this total. 1.3 million shirts sold. Guerrera, Garnacho, Rooney, House of Naipan and Højlund among the top selling shirts. Højlund, by the way, was crowned the Champions League Player of the Season. I'll show you his stats in a moment for the Champions League. It is mad. He has had such a great competition. How they lined up, our best 11, our centre-backs and our defensive midfielder are not green, but we have Simon in goal, Dorgu and Coyote out wide, Kabasi and Romero in the middle, Mainu, Guerrera and Neves with Garnacho, Rooney and Højlund. Completely agree with that. I don't think there's reason to change that. Have a look at the accolades. Most assists by player of the season, Rooney Bargy, 18 assists for the absolutely incredible Rooney Bargy. I mean, if you're playing Football Manager and you've never had Rooney Bargy in your team, get him. He is so good. Alejandro Garnacho, most player of the match awards in a season with 8. And the worst discipline was Patrick Dorgu with 10 yellow cards and a red card. Naughty, naughty boy. Fans player of the season was Garnacho. Young player of the season was Garnacho. Sign of the season was Eric van der Meer. Yep, do agree with that. Goal of the season was Karim Konate. Top goal scorer was Rasmus Højlund. 33 goals in all competitions. He has had an excellent season. He is an elite striker. Rooney Bargy with the most assists with 18. Alejandro Garnacho with the most player of the match awards with 8. Alejandro Garnacho has the highest average rating on a 7.4. And Alexander Hammer-Kelsen with the most passes completed per 90 minutes, 74. History in the making. Man U FC owe everything to a fantastic start to the season that kick-started the most unlikely of journeys. I mean, we've won it 3 years previously. I don't know how you can really say that. A remarkable season for Man U FC, started superbly and never let up. They are deservedly champions. And there are our trophies. The manager timeline is what the manager timeline is. If we have a look at go back to the best 11 actually. So our best 11 is Simon in goal, Shaw and Coyote in the wing-back positions with Romero and Kelson in here. Mainu, Guerrera and Neves in the midfield, which is our actual first-choice midfield. Garnacho, Rooney and Højlund. I mean, you could argue, with the exception of Luke Shaw, who's not at the club, and swap Kelson with Kabasi, our overall best 11 is our current 11. So that goes to show what a great job we've done. On the subs benches, Anana, Kabasi, Delo, Naipan, Rashford, Fernandez and Kaliksoy. Supporter profile update, moderate influence the supporters have on the board. Hardcore, core and family has all gone down. The fair weather has gone up to 24% and the casual has gone up to 19%. Corporate remains at 4%. We've become the most reputable team in England. And I would say we are probably the most dominant team in English football as well. We've become the most reputable team in the world. And we've become the most reputable team in Europe. So we've passed all of those. Everything else is in progress. I mean, there's a lot there, to be fair. Supporters are absolutely delighted that we've done all of this. Club vision and expectations, I mean, they're delighted and we're on course and all that sort of stuff. They want us to finish in the latter stage of the Champions League next season and win the Premier Division. So they actually want us to win the league now. So let's accept that. We'll have our end of season team meeting Thank you all for coming. I wanted to take some time to talk to you. Premier League, it's been a great season. You're all done well. Blah, 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 because we're going to go at it again next season. There you go. And they're all pleased. Brilliant. It's just what I want to hear. Nothing else to talk about now, so I don't like to upset anyone. Let's leave. Dynamics, excellent. Very good. That's all going in the right direction. We'll go through injuries shortly. They're always a pain in the backside, quite honestly. We will go to... we'll go to China. Why not? For our pre-season. Our staffing, I'll show you that as well in a moment, because staffing is mental. We've got the ability to have 5 more coaches if we want them. We clearly don't need them. We're top of everything. In the physio department, we're top of everything. We've got, potentially there's a technical director coming in, and we can have 2 more scouts. So that will be all gold, yellow, whatever colour you want to call it. So by the time we finish this save by the end of next season, or by the end of the next episode, we'll have the best staffing as well. So we are just, and I've not really been paying much attention to staffing. It's just, as people leave, if I think they're naff and they can be replaced, that's what I've done. I've done nothing special with it, as you can see by the fact I've not filled my coaches or my scouts. So yeah, it is what it is. Right, let's have a look at the medical centre. Okay, so the reason why I wanted to bring you to the medical centre specifically isn't just for my usual moan about injuries. As you see, at the beginning of the season, up until the end of the year, from August to the end of the year, we were pretty much on a par with what we were getting last season, and it was getting really annoying. We've actually been lower in the second half of the season to what it was in the second half of the season last time round. However, someone that is really frustrating me is this guy here, Naipan. He is a wonder kid. He's a fantastic player. Still got the potential to be 5 stars. Probably will be. I mean, just look at his attributes. He's absolutely incredible. He really is. And he would give Javi Guerrera a run for his money as the first choice attacking midfielder, central midfielder, what we've got him as now. But 6 injuries and 97 days that he's missed. It's so frustrating. He comes back, he plays a game, he gets injured for another 2 or 3 weeks. Then he'll come back, he'll play a game, he'll get injured for another 2 or 3 weeks. And it's so frustrating with him. And I am at the stage where I'm thinking he might have to go. You know, I look at his valuation of up to 100 million, and I think if someone was to come in and give me 100 million for Naipan right now, so that I can go out and get a central midfielder that's not going to be out injured all the time, then I'd absolutely take it. At the same time, Javi Guerrera, it's only been 34 days, but 6 injuries as well. And it is just so annoying because we can't get a run of I mean, Adam Wharton loves it because he knows that every week either Guerrera or Naipan are going to be injured. So he's just thinking happy days. Rasmus Højlund has 6 injuries over 24 days as well. So again, 6 injuries. And it is frustrating that and again, Konate has also 6 injuries, 66 days. Between Naipan, Konate, Guerrera and Højlund, they're just constantly getting injured. Yet Rasmus Højlund has had an amazing season. If we actually look at his stats in the league, 30 appearances, 15 goals, 3 assists, 3 player of the match awards, 7.21. He's doing really well. You know, I can't fault him. In the Champions League, however, we look at it down here, Continental. He's made 13 starts, 1 sub-appearance, 15 goals and 2 assists. That's 17 goal contributions in 14 appearances at an average rate of 7.66. Højlund has been tearing up the Champions League. He really has. It's why he won the Golden Boot for it. It's why he's won the UEFA Champions League Player of the Season. His physicals are looking really, really good, which you like to see from a 6'3" striker. And yeah, he's just real good quality. If we go over to here, yeah, he's top of the goal scorers list. The most assists. Now, we're probably going to have a look on the squad view for this, because if we go over to it, we just share things around so much. So looking at this, Bargi, Garnacho and Neves with 18, 17 and 17 between them. Garnacho, 22 goals and 17 assists at 7.35 from 54 games. João Neves, who really is an unsung hero for us, 12 goals, 17 assists at 7.25. it's just incredible. And then you've got the likes of Iran Kuda, Wharton, Coyote that have got 10 assists each. You know, Iran Kuda, probably unlucky not to be on a 7. Considering he's only backup, if we didn't have Rooney Bargi or Alejandro Garnacho, he is perfect to come in for them. And his pace is lightning as well. We look at goals scored, and again, we share these about. Rasmus Højlund's got 33, Garnacho's got 22, Javi Guerrero's got 20, and then you've got Neves with 12, Bargi with 11, Konaté with 11, and then you get into single figures. But as you can see, goals just get shared around. They're all the way down to here. And then you get to the likes of Douassé, who hasn't got a goal, Cospo, who's a defender, hasn't got a goal, a goalkeeper naturally hasn't got a goal. But a lot of the, other than these two here, other than Douassé and Cospo, all the others that haven't got a goal have barely played for us. Anyone that's got a decent amount of games, I mean, we've got one here from Aaron Campbell, 2 appearances, 1 goal, 1 assist. Maybe we need to give him a bit more time. What I also want to show you is the youth intake. And we've had a few decent players here. Michel Carley, a right-sided winger. I mean, we really don't need any more right-sided wingers. But 15 years of age, he's got 5-star potential. I absolutely think he is going to be a wonder kid, this boy. Then we've got James Michael, 4.5-star reputation. He's a goalkeeper. 1-star current ability, 4.5-star potential. Again, 15 years old. He could absolutely become our backup to Dennis Simon in a few years' time. And then Stephen Asgar, another Scottish lad, 4.5-star potential with 1-star current ability. Central defender. I mean, he's only 5'11". He might need to grow a little bit. Maybe we retrain him as a defensive midfielder. He can be a bit of a backup to Douassé and Mainu. If we have a look at our squad, by the way, this is what we look like at the moment. I think this is our first choice team. Yes, it is. Kabasi, we could do with him improving. I mean, his potential has been going down and his current has not really gone up. But he is one of many players that just don't take notice of the star ratings all the time because he's really good. Vandermeer, as we know, has been great. I look at this squad and I just think there's not really anyone that I want to get rid of. If we have a look at... go away. The players that I'm potentially looking at letting go, Tyler Fredrickson, because we just haven't used him. He's had like 2 appearances, 1 start, 1 sub appearance all season. It's a waste of time having him. He's out of contract at the end of next season. If we can get some sort of transfer fee for him, that'd be great. If not, he might just move over into our under-21s, even though he's over 21. And yeah, we'd just reinvest money into somewhere else. Alvaro Fernandez as well is out of contract again at the end of next season. 24 years old. He's decent. I mean, he's played a few more. He's had 3 starts, 14 sub-appearances. He has made 4 assists as well. And he's actually not a bad player. He wants to leave. He's got a £20 million asking price. If someone comes in for him, we'll obviously let him go. But when we look at the squad and look at the age profile of our squad, and we'll move this bar over as well, we go down to the oldest player, which is Rasmus Højlund. He's 24 now. He'll be 25 in February. The whole point of the save is that by the end of the 5 years, we have to get to a position where there is no player in our squad that is over the age of 25. So Højlund and even Fernandez and Guerrero being 25, they would still qualify as being not over 25. So yeah, we're basically achieving it. Our squad valuations, some of these are mental, they really are. And yeah, so the next episode, we're going to see what we can win. The Club World Cup isn't until 2029, so we won't be taking part of that, but we'll be taking part in the Super Cup. And yeah, it's just to see what we can win. Let's continue making ourselves the most dominant team in English football. Let's continue to dominate Europe by winning the Champions League as well. And let's see if there's some exciting players we can bring in for next season and maybe use some of the exciting players we've already got, because we have got a few in our under-21s. So, thank you very much for watching, folks. Please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, all that sort of wonderful stuff. and I'll see you next Sunday for the final episode of Rebuilding Manchester United. And obviously tomorrow, 6 p.m, will be The Unemployed Journeyman. Check that out too. Thank you very much. Goodbye.